Welcome to a Map Business Online video presentation. And today we're going to talk about cities and towns and the way we handle that in Map Business Online. And what you see here behind us, behind this map actually at the background layer, is the streets data. So I can turn that off and on. And you can see the cities are noted here. And that's going to change depending upon whether you're way out where you can see now zoomed out that there's only major cities across the country. So that might be around 20, 30 cities. And then as you zoom in, and we'll just do a back to where we were before. I'm using my back button over there. Once you zoom in, you see more of the cities and towns that are of varying population, but they show up specifically at zoom levels and according to like mapping rules. These are all algorithms in the background that control where those cities show up and where they don't. And there are other options for background maps that sometimes might be of interest. So there's the National Geographic background map, and then we've got satellite imagery, which does not include streets. I think topographic does include cities. But let's just go back to the street level detail. Now, we've also got available to us the add map layers, and add map layers has two city layers that I've already added to the map, cities and city limits. So you click on add map layers and you pick your layer and then click add it to the map. And I've already done that here. So the cities layer, if I turn off the streets layer and turn on the cities layer, you'll see what that looks like. So as you zoom in, there's more or less cities on the map. And if we were out at the full nationwide layer level, you can see more cities. But this is just a point. It doesn't have any associated data other than, let's just take a look here in the city limits. There's not even an option here to look at the data because there is no data associated with that city's layer. All it is points and that uneditable layer name, city name. So the other thing we can turn on is cities and towns as is city limits. And so if we look at the city limits, you can see their actual boundaries of cities and towns. And as you zoom in, you'll get more of them. That's with the streets background turned on. And if we zoomed all the way in, then you'll start to get more information, but you still see that some of these towns and cities do not have boundaries associated with them because they're just small towns and cities and they're not included in that layer. So that doesn't have every single layer, every single city or town in creation, but it does have the major cities and towns. And city limits is good because you've got the ability to work with that data. So if I go to city limits here, you'll see that there is a whole data component to it. So we've got the city, the state, and the county, and then you can actually bring in demographic data, just like you can with zip codes and counties or census tracts. And so city limits is kind of neat as a way to build territory information. You can edit the color of the city limits area. You can edit the translucency, the transparency of those layers, so you can see things through it. And you can also color code based on the demographic information or information that you've imported. And then the final layer was in public data. When you click plot data on the map, you can click next and click from server and click public data, and there is a cities and towns layer here, and there it is right there. And I've already imported that into the map by clicking plot. And so if I turn that on, that gives us more points on the map with names. And in this case, I've got the label, the call out using compact. So you've got compact and non-compact options. And once again, I think the data element on the cities and towns layer is limited. you can actually, yeah, you do get some information here. You get population, the type of city or town, um, an ID for that city or town, and that probably needs to be adjusted to be just numeric, place, state. So there's different information here, and you can add to it. So there's a more data button down here if you want to do some sort of manipulation of the data and in your analysis of the cities and towns layer. And then the final option you could do is actually create a spreadsheet yourself and import like 4 towns if you want to just focus on those 4 towns and have those show up for sure at that particular map level. That's always an option too. So cities and towns in Map Business Online, there's a lot of different options, and hopefully you can figure out what works best for your map and your map audience. And go to mapbusinessonline.com and take our free trial. Thank you very much.